Alright, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's doing well today. Yeah, we're going to continue on with the documentation. Not writing the documentation, sorry, the documentation section, the uploads and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's continue on. So last Wednesday, we got some stuff done. If I delete that and we go into the documentation, we can instantly see that we got a response. In this sort of case, we've got nothing there. That's perfectly fine. What we're going to do is we're going to move down here. We're going to hit the documentation. There are some stuff coming through. For example, the documents. There we go. We're going to set this up so that it renders correctly down here, very much like this. So yeah. All right, let's go into here. So we've got the document component. We did the fetch and all that kind of stuff. So load data, we fetch it, we get all that. We then put that into those particular places. You know, what we need to do is send that data downstream into the document list renderer. So easy done. We've got the document interface and item, and I don't think they exist anymore. Yeah, but that's not a problem, because we don't need them. Alright, first we've got to define the props, so we're just going to go constant props equals define props. What we'll have is we'll have the folder. Now if I go back up here, I'm going to try and keep the naming convention the same from up here going down. So we've got the documents and folders. That will be of type array prop type, and then this is where we go document item interface. And required, going to be true. Easy done. And then we'll have the folders. We'll have the type being array as prop type. We'll have the folder item interfaces as an array. Easy done. Required is going to be true. Now, I don't think we need the file up, the max size here. That's perfectly fine. We do have the root. And I did think the other day of how to improve this. Cause, hang on, before we get started, let's let's put that down like that. Not create and filter. Let's not do that one yet. Let's do the breadcrumbs. Folder array interface. No, it should be folder item interface now. Oh, got this on the wrong. There we go. Easy done. Alright, cool. I'm just going to put the interface over here because that does change a few things in here. Socks, are you okay? You are pacing. We've got the ID, we've got the description, we've got the parent folder. So down here, the breadcrumb arrays, yep, like that. Current folder label, computer, da-da-da. I think we're going to need a translation layer in here. Okay, const t equals use internationalization, and then it's an options. So then we've got messages, and then we've got English, and we'll have root label. I don't know what that will mean in Japanese. So I'm going to put root directory. All right, so just done that. There is a reason why I've done that. So if we actually scroll down, you'll notice that the root down here, that should be that. So it translates easily. Now, we only want this to appear, and we do the VIFs at the top, if the breadcrumbs array is greater than 0. Yeah. So if there isn't anything in there, we don't need this array to actually show. I'm not too worried about this down here. That will be ID. That will be description. That would be the current level. All right, cool. Because I'll overtake the current label of this particular thing. So that won't be labeled, that will be description. And then what we want to do is we actually want to return t root label like so. That's fine. All right, cool. So going back here, we don't have anything appearing. That should be showing some data. Oh, all right. I've definitely broken a lot. Document list was accessed during render, but it is not defined on the SS. All right, yep. So I've just broken everything, but that's fine. I do it all the time. All right, so document list, yeah, we got rid of this. So that would be documents, folders, Just it on my keyboard. All right, that's pretty much it. That's all we needed to change around for there. We're just gonna refresh. We're gonna hit documentation, everything's come back, great. And we've got root there, being like, we're at the root level, cool. And then when we add folders and stuff like that, things will start appearing. Now, we don't have all the bits of information down here, but that's not gonna be a problem. We're gonna figure out why. And then the next step is to fix up this. Oh, that's ugly. We're going to fix that up, and we're going to actually add on the ability to create a new folder and so forth like that. So, yeah. So, let's figure out why this isn't showing fully. So, I'm going to close the breadcrumbs because that should be fine. If we go in here, we've got document list, folder list. I'm just going to go into folder list and so forth like that. We've got the folder item interface. Yep, that's perfectly fine. It's going to be ID, description, so that's just going through all of that. Oh, we don't actually have who uploaded it and stuff like that. So I'm just going to delete that for the moment. So that's going to hopefully fix that up. I don't know why this isn't refreshing today, but that's... it's because I haven't modified that. All right, cool. I've only done the folder. All right, document list, we're just going to go through. Oh, that's meant to be ID. Oh, sorry, that's meant to be key. Ooh. We actually don't have an item type. Because when we're in here, if I go into the network and click on the documents, yeah, we don't store the type. That is something we could potentially do. I mean, it's not hard to actually implement that. All right, file name, that's just going to be description. And then, yeah, we're just going to get rid of that for a second. We're just going to hit refresh. Yeah, we've got the NearBeach homepage there. Now, it might be an idea to actually have the who created this come through with the user. I'm just thinking what would be the benefit of that. Just saying who created it. I'm going to say no. I'm going to change that idea. Yeah, I do need to tell that that's a link. Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely getting rid of that now. This is also going to be changing. We'll actually edit this out and fill it in properly. We'll edit the CSS in a minute. Not to worry about this. I am just going to zoom in so you guys can actually see this. Zoom out just a little bit. All right. I might put that down in there. I need to fix this up. I need to figure out what would be the best solution to do this. At the moment, that's the default one. That's perfectly fine with the documentation. What we want to do is, it is possible for us to feed this through and then have a bunch of case statements and all that kind of stuff on the front end. However, we could, I dropped my pen. We could easily do this also at the back end. So if I go to the backend API, I'm just going to put this over here so you guys can actually see the results, and actually have in another one in here with type. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. But then I'm dealing with a bunch of other stuff too. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this get icon. We've got to pass them through as a string. We've got a description. All right, cool. Don't worry about the switch at the moment. We'll get to that. So if description equals null, or description equals undefined, or description equals empty text like that, we're going to return link. Links do not have a description. Everything else will have a description. And then what we want to do from here is we want to go const type equals description dot split by that, and we want to get the last entry, essentially. Can't do that in one line, not that I know of. So what I'm going to do is call it split description. And then const type equals split description. And we're going to go split description dot length -1. And that should be fine. We do a null check up here. If there's no full stop or anything like that in here, yeah, it'll just fail and it goes to the file sort of thing, and that'll be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, and automatically, boom, we got the link in there. Now this homepage thing, I don't like it all the way up there. I'm just thinking. Yeah, margin auto won't do that. Because yeah, it had a couple of bits of information in there. So what I could do is display flex, align items center. That's just gonna how it's gonna be. The next thing is shrinking this, so it's not so big. We can get it down. I don't want one REM. I think that's good, but it is taking. So we've got a bit of tweaking to do here. All right. Because yeah, we've changed a few things. We can get this done. So first off, description. That will change. Ooh. That should be escaping out here. Let's have a look at that code. NearBeach homepage. Oh, I've done this wrong. I really should be also checking URL location. All right. URL location doesn't equal null, and URL location does not equal undefined, and URL location does not equal an empty string. That's when we've got a link. Now this is going to have a problem like that. And Mercenary Mage, hey, how are you going? How was your stream? Welcome, welcome everyone. So, can't say in chat, but had a good stream. Oh, that's good to hear, fair enough. So yeah, welcome everyone. I'm Robotic Head, and I'm working on a project management system called NearBeach. I will just bring up an example. We are currently going through a massive, excuse the massive error right there. We're currently going through a massive refactoring. So, yeah, we're changing it from this into something that looks a lot nicer. As you can see, this error, that's what we're changing it into. No, I just got to fix that up. Yeah, so we currently use it to build NearBeach. We're hoping to get the refactor done as soon as possible. It's just taken forever, as refactors always do. And yeah, it's an open source project management system. I should bring in just back down and say what it can do. So you can gather basic organization and customer details. You can create Kanban boards, create projects, tasks, gather user requirements and break them down into requirement items. And when you're ready to deploy, you've got a request for change. So yeah. And hello, Moon Pie Dumplings. Welcome, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content. You might also see a little fuzzy beast, causing trouble. She is. So yeah, welcome everyone. All right, so this is having a problem. Cannot find field name description. Huh? I was like about to go to sleep. Oh, fair enough, fair enough. I'm assuming it's going to be very late or early for you. I'm just going to double... Alright. When stuff like this happens, I tend to do something like this. So I'm going to go const split description equals description. I know why. Ooh. Does this interface not have a URL location? No, it does. Whoa, socks. Careful. But it can be null. Alright, so I've just got to change all of that. So I'm going to state here that that can also be null. We'll do null checks and all that kind of fun stuff. Alright, so we should now have a description. We should then be able to do a split on that, and we've got to figure out why. Cannot find name description. You're right there, buddy. I'm just going to comment out all of this for the moment, just in case everything's having a problem. And I'm just going to return none. Just going to turn that. And hello, Shrey and sorry, I'm terrible with new names, but welcome, welcome. I hope you are enjoying my content as I figure out what have I done. This is really messy. All right, I'm just gonna const type equals image. I'm just gonna do that. I know those are all gonna break, but what the oh, I'm an idiot. There I go. All right. So, I can get rid of that. I can do that. What we're going to do, if split description. Now this should be string array or undefined. Equals undefined or split description dot length equals 0. We're just going to return, in this sort of case we've got here, we're just going to return the basic sort of file, and that's fine. That just means that it'll be the file icon. We're fine with that being a default. That'll be perfectly fine. Make sure make sure we have. Oh, this might be a bit different again. We'll just do that. Make sure we have the file type, get the type, and return the appropriate logo. And that's it. That should be that. There you go. We'll get rid of that. We now can fix up the layout down here. So, going down here. For starters, this should be like this. And we are going to utilize a new line just to split everything out so we can read it. So we'll need /private / what do we have in the old one? I'm just going to upload. I can't upload stuff into the Kanban cards. Yeah, I can't upload something against the Kanban cards. So I'm just quickly doing something. I'm going to add a link. Yeah, it's just private. All right, cool. And what we want is we want item.key. And that's about it. Let's get with the CSS. So we've got that. That's now got the private key down there. That's going to be not found or anything like that. We haven't handled any of the documentation stuff in the back end. A lot of that code should be copied and pasted. It won't be API stuff though. So yeah, it'll be its own controller. All right, so going down here with the documentation, if we have a look at this, we've got document list and then document item, and then so we've got document list, document icon right here. I'm going to change that to a 1.5 rem for both of them. If we have a look now, that should have shrunk a little bit. Sweet. I'm going to... grid columns, that's going to be 1.5 rem for the icon. There we go. Let's bring that in a lot nicer. With the details, what we want to do we just want to get that text more centered. So that being said, we've got a bit of height issue here. All right, cool. So it looks like I need to change the document item height. It's not too much of a problem. We go down here, we've got all of that. Oh, maybe, we do have a margin at the bottom. That might not be it then. We've got the font size, we've got the padding, we've got the line height. What if I do something like that? All right, I like that. And then we've got the, now this icon over here is very faded. I'm going to change that. It's because it's using these older colors. Oh. The thing is, we're not thing is, we're going to change the colors, so I might leave that for the moment. And hi, Mav Ionditis. How are you? I don't do live reviews on whilst I don't do live reviews. You're more than welcome to paste it in the Discord. So, yeah. Alright, so we've got that done. The private link, I've got to handle that controller in a minute, but that's perfectly fine. We've also got to handle all of this too, so that's looking terrible at the moment. We'll fix that up. We'll definitely fix that button up. That's looking wonky as hell. The joys of UI. But I think that's perfectly fine at the moment. Don't know why that's doing that. And that should have an unclickable sort of moment. I'm actually going to change this. Those colors will just annoy me off later on to actually fix this up. So yeah, that's why I'm doing it like that. Alright, and I should mention we are joined here today by Socks. There she is. Yeah, you're on stream now, sweetie. Alright, so I'm happy with this so far. I'm gonna tweak the designing stuff a little bit later. Let's move to this upload sort of stuff. So I'm going to close all tabs. I'm going to close all tabs. We're just going to minimize everything. We're going to open up NearBeach. We're going to open up NearBeach. No, not NearBeach. Sorry. We're going to open up the source. We're going to open up the... Everyone can see you stand on my mouse now, sweetie. And try and sit on it. We're going to open up the components. We are going to open up the object component. We are going to cry a little because I forgot I was meant to open up the documentation. So we're just doing the top one again. Breadcrumb array is incorrect. Let's go up here. Breadcrumbs array. Have I gone and furrowed that up? Yeah, I screwed that up. All right. That should be fixed now. If we go into the create and filter, yeah, we've got the whelp drop down doesn't work anymore. The whelp drop down, I don't think they, do they exist? Socks, people want to watch you. There you go. I don't think they exist anymore, but not a problem. What we can do, WebStorm, we'll just open up WebStorm very, very quickly. We'll bump that off to over there. We'll go back down here. This is the Welk Select. It's been a few weeks since I've been in here, so Yeah, I've been meaning to actually jump back into Welk and really commit to everything, but just time. Alright, so we're going to go to the components. Now, this will be the drop-down. So this will be part of the drop-down up here. We've got the Welk drop-down. We don't have any unit tests or anything like that. And we've got the Welk drop-down items here. Now, we have... I started using Linux when I was 16 and I'm used to it. Nothing gets Macs. I actually do use a Mac for work. I also game, and it's a lot easier to game on Linux than a Mac. Alright, so the good news is... this is still here. The bad news is I might have to change a few of these. Yeah, not a problem. It can be done. The other news is, yeah, when we click on it, those don't pop up above, which is really, really annoying. And Aiden, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Socks is in. She's just gone back into her bed. I might as well just do this at the moment. She's like, yeah, pay attention to me. You're doing good? Oh, that's good to hear. Alright, yeah, I've got to fix this up. I'll close this. This is what I'm focusing on. So we've got the Welk drop down. We've got the drop down. We've got the upload. I've got to fix it so this will work perfectly fine. Client phone is happy with the iOS app. Oh, nice. Oh, fair enough. That's pretty awesome, Aiden. And glitches. I'm assuming you use AI at work. If not, how do you keep up with people who use AI at work? Not that much. I did write a little blog about what I use AI on and my thoughts of AI and stuff like that. It's mostly around essentially I do use it, but it's more sort of code blocks and stuff like that, little tiny things. I don't use it to write out large quantities of code because I end up having to sort of replace it anyway. So yeah. All right, so this button will need to pass through with the CSS to get to it, so that's pretty easy. So if we actually go on this, it'll be that, it'll then be button, and then it'll be SVG. So we can, under the document create and filter, we've got the filter, yep, all right, sweet. That'll be create and filter, that will be the Welk drop down. We can add that in right now. And then we can just go SVG, and then we can go width. Let's just say 10 REM. Oh, sorry, not 10. Actually, you know what? Let's blow it up. I just want to make sure I can get to this. And it looks like I can't. Okay, not a problem. Font size, yeah, all right. Check it out. It's just that I got your first SDE job, and most of them vibe code all the time, and I have been vibe coding for a while too. I want to be a reliable developer. Testing, lots of testing. They also work on languages like Swift that I'm not familiar with. Don't worry about having to learn new languages. You will. Don't. That's part of the process. I've got a board for this. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. Oh, yeah. All right, so this is just the difficulty. This is just number of languages. So your first language is always going to be the most difficult. Into that in a different color so it makes sense. Your first language is always going to be the most difficult. Your second language, not so much. Your third language, not so much. Your fourth language, and so forth like that. And it plateaus about down here. All right. All of this, transferable. Oh, transferable knowledge. Excuse my bad spelling. So is this. So is this, and so is this. So all of that is just transferable knowledge. I started with C, MATLAB, and Maple. MATLAB's more of an engineering thing. Maple's a lot of the maths, but you know, C. From there, I learned C++, Python. I now do a lot of C# and all that kind of stuff. JavaScript, of course, and then all the frameworks that I sort of use. And Aiden on Twitch says Swift isn't that bad. So yeah, don't be scared about learning another language. My recommendation, just make it a little tiny project or something like that. It doesn't need to be long. It could be something that you do in an afternoon or maybe an hour or two just to get the code base. Going back 10 years, I was jumping into web development and stuff like that. I looked up Python frameworks, came across Django, didn't know Django at all. I ended up going to the getting started with Django. I then dove into, not the documentation, the tutorial. Wherever it is on this. Try this tutorial. I drove into the tutorial. Within completed the tutorial pretty quickly. In 20 minutes I knew I was going to be ill NearBeach with this. So yeah. Oh, cheers, thank you. But yeah, don't worry about learning other languages. It will happen. My recommendation is, yeah, just build a project. This is what I do. Try and build something. All right, so I can't get to that using that because this is all scoped. Understandable. What I could potentially do is I'm doing something ridiculous to see if I can blow it out there. But that looks like it isn't passing through that at all, which is a bit of a problem. Because, yeah, we want this. You know, Python, C++, C, JavaScript, but it's all start up and it's going so fast that I'm scared to get started. I'm also just out of college, so a little out of touch. Don't worry about it. Usually it takes about 5 months to get your head around the core code bases and stuff like that. Sometimes you just have to sit there and read code to understand what it's actually doing. There's a lot of times I have to sit down and read code, and I wrote it. Now, another thing is, let's read the documentation on this. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Decided to wake everyone up. Basic sizing. Alright, cool. They've got a proc that does that for us. So, hey, if the proc will do it, let's say 12. Let's go back over here. There we go. It's a lot smaller now. That's manageable. That button's looking a lot better. We just now need to fix up the rest of that. Holy hell, I can't believe I let that happen. I think that's because this has to be 20, but the drop-down background is a 5. But why? Oh, I haven't wrapped that. I haven't wrapped that. Alright. Sorry about the flashbang. So, that's lining up fine. The gap there, yeah, that's fine. I'll keep that gap in there. The line down there is fine. Alright, cool. Yeah, it's just this. I need to fix that up. So, we're in here. We've got the welk drop down. We've got all that. We've got the drop-down items, which is just up here. We've got the ARIA label, create new folder. Ooh. I've just realized, that's in welk. All right, give me 2 secs. That's the icon. Oh, that's a component. Oh, all right, cool. That's how I do it. Yeah, that's sweet. That's fine. I'm glad I didn't do something stupid with that. All right, so in here, we've got the drop down. So when someone clicks on the drop down, so the button, we've got the drop down, we've got those appearing, drop down items. These don't have a background at the moment. Border solid, position absolute. Yeah, we'll fix up all of this later. I mean, it shouldn't be that. Yeah, it shouldn't be that. And the fact of the matter is, I can't click on any of those. Alright, so the problem I've got to solve, there's a couple of problems that I've got to solve, is one, I've got to, in NearBeach, have it so when someone clicks on one of these, it actually opens up something. So that should be triggering new folder. A new link, and then upload. What are those triggers? Where is this? Trigger, string. Oh, no, that's not gonna... Drop down click, item clicked. All right, so that is going to... that doesn't really need to belong there. That emit can actually go in there. For starters. We are omitting that up. All right, cool. We've got the trigger. This could be fixed. And then in here, drop down item clicked. Yeah, it emits up, drop down item clicked in the tree. All right, cool. So I figured it out. So down here, we've got drop down items, and then what we got to do is a I'm just going to paste that. going to paste it twice now. That function, sure, we haven't built it up here yet. So this will be a function, paste that in. We're going to have trigger, that's going to be a string. And I'm just going to make sure that that gets there. Now, why did I do that silly stuff? I don't know. So I've got the console log open. I'm going to click on documents. I'm going to click on new folder. New folder came through, new link, and upload document all came through. All right. Fixing this bug here, it's going to be a bit tricky because I need to do a release of Welk. But at the same time, I kind of want to change this process because it is a little bit limiting. So straight off the bat, let's go back down to the Welk drop-down item. We've got an emits. This could actually belong down here. That can just go emits, drop down. Sorry, it was meant to be like that. Drop down item clicked. In this sort of case, yet we want to emit the trigger. But what I want to do is I want to put it in an argument in an object like this. This gives us the ability to extend it out later. We'll have trigger in here. We'll have item.trigger like that. And then I do believe that is an extra single thing there, and then that is an extra thing there. So that gets rid of this up here. So we no longer need that. Less lines, better. The next thing, yeah, we do want the emits. I haven't fixed this issue where it squeal lines under there, but that's something I fixed in NearBeach. I need to fix for Welk too. Is up here. We've got the same thing here, but because it does two instructions, it sends that trigger up. Now this is going to be a trigger of that. So that's the type. Did I want to call it trigger or did I want to call it event? I want to call it an event. So that passes that up. Now we can, in the future, if I were to go to add in more options into here, I would definitely add in an interface. And hey, Dan's Matt, how are you going? I'm going good. I'm glad it's Friday. So that's I'm happy with. That then means that in here, when we've got the drop down in here, what I got to do is I'm going to go event and I'm going to write trigger is going to be a string. If I do an interface later on, I can actually import it in here perfectly fine. Now I'm going to get rid of this. And we're just going to write add code in here. Now, another thing which I had a look at the other day. There we go. I want to scroll down on here. The other day I was having a look and I came across something funny. Funny, haha, good. Teleport. Alright, so teleport is a built-in component that allows us to teleport a part of a component's template into a DOM node that exists outside the DOM hierarchy. So, in this sort of case, I need a modal to appear. You're doing great as well? Awesome. For example, my modal. Alright, sometimes the part of components template belongs to it logically, but from a visual standpoint, it should be displayed somewhere else in the DOM, perhaps outside of the Vue application. The most common example of this is when building a full-screen modal. Ideally, we want the code for the modal's button and modal itself to be written within at the same single-file component, since they both are related to the open-close state of the modal. But this means the modal will be rendered alongside the button, deeply nested in the application's DOM hierarchy. This can create some tricky issues when positioning the modal via CSS. Yeah, so considering the following that, and here's the implementation of the modal. So we'll set up our own modal. I don't know if I'm going to do the modal in Welk. And that's the other thing is I mean, I can do it in Welk. It's not that hard to actually implement. Does mean that I will have to build it today and then test it and then get it all shipped out. Sorry. Big yawn. So in here we've got the ref. We've got the from Vue, const opal edge is false. Yep, alright, cool. So that will open up the modal. Easy dumb. The component contains a button to trigger the open of the modal with the class modal, which, yep, alright, cool. When using the component inside HTML structures, there are a number of potential issues. Position fix only places the element related to the viewport. When I exit, yeah, all right, cool. The modal Z index is constrained by the containing element. If there's another element that overlaps the div, and so forth like that. Teleport provides a clean way to work around these by allowing us to break outside the nested loop structure. Let's modify my modal to use teleport. So it will teleport to body, which is what we want. If div open class modal. We've got the hello for the modal, and then we've got all of that stuff in there. So we can handle stuff like this, and we just teleport it to the body. Like so. That's what we want. And I don't know if you guys are seeing this, so I'm going to move this to the left. Have a look at the body. When I click on the modal, notice how it goes yellow, indicating a change, and then I click close to close the modal. Yeah. You can combine teleport with transition to create an animated modal. Cool. Only alters the render DOM structure. It does not affect the logical hierarchy of the component. That is to say, if teleport contains a component, that component will remain a logical child and so forth. That awesome. Disabling teleport. In some cases, we may want to conditionally disable teleport. For example, we may want to render a component as an overlay for a desktop, but inline for a mobile. Supports with the disabled prop, which can be done out of toggle. All right, cool. Multiple teleports on the same target. A common use case would be reusable modal components with the potential for multiple instances to be active at the same time. For the scenario, multiple teleport components can mount their content to the same content target element. The order will be simply appended. All right, cool. Yep. Cool. Deferred teleport in Vue, which we're using above this. So yeah, we're using the latest Vue. We can use a deferred prop to defer the target resolving of a teleport until other parts of the application have mounted. This allows a teleport to target a container element that is rendered by Vue, but in later part of the component tree. But in this sort of case, I'm going to append to the body. So yeah, that's nice to actually have. Whoa, what just happened then? Firefox. All right, so let's start that. But also at the same time, how am I going to do this? And this is where we're going to look at designs and so forth like that, and also have a look at the NearBeach sort of design. I wouldn't mind it following this sort of card where we've got this sort of layout and so forth like that. I really need to also apply that to this section here. I will do that in a second. So we've got a couple of things to fix. Let's just write them down before I forget. All right, 1. We want the drop down. So, people come and watch you, not me. There you go. We've got the drop down menu color. CSS. Let's put CSS plus background color. Got to create a modal. Link socks, thank you very much. Can you stop sitting on my mouse, please? Alright. Oof, this makes it so hard when Socks is sitting on the mouse. So, we're going to create a modal. And we'll do that in Welk. That way I can handle all the CSS in Welk and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Gotta create the components. Oh my god, Socks, stop it. For inside modal. This is Socks. She is a she. She does cause a lot of trouble. Hence, my terrible writing on the screen. So, yeah. But yes, she does bring in the views and she keeps the people here. So, for that, I will forgive her. And I need to also think about just learning how to navigate my desktop environment without using a mouse. If you're at Microwave, if you're talking about this is X Kelly Draw. All good. There it goes, Socks. People want to see you, Socks, not me. And I'm going to do that. I'm partially through the Vim bindings. I need to learn a couple more. But yeah, I need to put Vim bindings on Firefox or something like that. And it's just navigating. Socks is looking majestic at this angle. She is majestic. There we go. I'll make a look at you guys. Hey, Socks, over here. Over here. There you go. Majestic. There's been times I have died in games. So I was playing Diablo 4. And for some strange reason, Socks really must have liked the colors or something on it. And she was actually standing next to the screen, staring at the screen intently. But she was covering my health, so I didn't know how much health I had. Let's just say I died because I didn't know how much health I had. Alright, let's do modal in here. Let's right-hand click. Let's go that. Let's go modal. Easy done. We're following the same sort of core concept with all of these. I've got to sit down one day and just go through this and just do everything I want in here. Alright, essentially I'm just copying that one line to paste into here, and what we're going to do is that's going to be walk modal. We'll destroy all of that and just go walk modal. There we go. And then I've got to do it on this one. Why haven't I done it for the drop-down item? Oh, I haven't... Yeah, I haven't done that properly. Sorry, it just... Trying to get everything... I'm trying to cross my T's and dot my I's, essentially. Alright, index... Cool. And then I just want modal in here, so export walk modal from that. Easy done. And then we've got our final index, which just does everything, which I think is cool. All right. Now I haven't put in any tests in here at all. Oh. Yes, people are watching you. Oh. I thought you wanted some sternum scratches. She's like, no, don't show people I like them. Alright, and now she's trying to be regal. I'm just wondering if my camera... This is the view I've got. Alright, this is why sometimes I'm leaning to the side. Alright, let's put you back. There you go, socks. Oh. Alright. My work day. it's pure that. Alright. So, we've done all that. We've done this. We've got the document component. So, I've got the welcome modal. It's going to be very, very simple at the moment. We're going to base this off the card. So if we go to the card and we open up the Welk card, essentially this is it. Not much, right? Which is great news for us, because it's mostly CSS that we have to worry about then. So setup language, the template, this will be div class equals Welk, and this will be modal. I can't spell, so please forgive me. And then we're dealing with a slot where we're fine with whatever comes through here. Now, the card's really, really dumb. This will need a few more bits of JavaScript in it to help it work. I'm also thinking, what will the... Sorry, let me... How the hell did that pick that window? Alright, cool. Let's go modal tailwind design. Oh, let's go tailwind. Modal tailwind. Alright, cool. Yeah, let's go into Flowbyte. So, as you can see, this has a header. And I'm happy to have a header with the ability for it to close like that. Now, if it didn't have a header, let's say someone was crazy and they're like, you know what? I'm not going to put it in a header. Let's delete that node. We can still have it like this. I will still allow people to implement it like this. Now, is she going to jump out of bed the instant the camera hits her? No, probably not. Are you trying to hint to people that you want treats? She's like, maybe I do. Maybe I do want treats. In which case, I will allow that. There you go. Aiden's giving you treats. She's like, about time. Alright, where did I put the treat? This always happens. I will be right back. Stay in your bed. No, in your bed. Alright. In your bed. Yeah, you've been good tonight. You can get a couple more. I'll put those buttons up there. Gotta lose some weight. Oh. I'll just add a little bit more. There we go. For those on YouTube wondering what actually happens, on Twitch we have redemption points, which you can use to give Socks treats. So yeah. There we go. Yeah. All right. She's happy now. Now that she's got the treats, she'll probably lick the bed for 5 minutes and then run off for an hour, which happens so often. All right. So with the card, I'm just going to bring the card back over here. We just sent through slots. We make it optional if the person's going to do a card, header and footer, but we add those options in over here. We export them and so forth like that. And we have a bunch of tests, not many, but we will write more tests. So we're going to do the same thing, but first what I'm going to do, I'm going to nick the styles because I can't be bothered typing out all of that. I'm just going to paste it in. I'm going to go straight to card, delete end, and I'm going to write modal. So a couple of things here. If we go back to this modal, if I click anywhere, it takes you back to this other thing, which is another way of getting out of a modal and so forth like that. Down here, we've got a static modal, meaning they've got to actually do something like that. We'll probably stick with the static model for the time being. Yeah, I'm going to make it so if the user doesn't have that cross up there, we won't force them to have the header. All right, yeah. But we'll definitely add in some stuff. Yeah, all right, cool. So going back here, we've got the woke modal. And we're actually going to have the modal part here. Can I use AI to recode and ask it to explain the code base? I'm scared I won't be able to remember the code base well. Yes. Yeah. That's a good use of AI as a tool. You can even get it to explain sections of code and stuff like that. So yeah. For example, let's try and find some funky code in NearBeach. Let's just go to services. Let's go to linked list service. Let's say I have this create sort of thing here. Let's Let's just go to Google. Yeah, let's just use the AI mode. I'm just going to put this so you guys can see what I'm doing. Hello. I have the following code. I don't fully understand how it works. Can you please help me? Oh, sorry. I'm used to using Mac at work. So it comes through. All right, this code is a custom Django REST framework view method. It handles linking an external object to a destination via a join called object assignment. All right, cool. This is mostly correct. Now, I'm going to say that is correct because it doesn't get the full context. In a sense, we are using the... No, pick up the Django REST framework, linking an external object. Yep, all right, cool. Here's steps. So serialized, link serialized, accepts the incoming HTTP. Yep, that's correct. If not serialized, is valid. Checks if the input data meets the required types. If it fails, it returns the error field, serializer, and a false. Now that's not quite correct. If we actually have a look at the code, that's not the error field serializer. That's just an object. That we send back with text in it. But that's fine. Actually, no. Sorry. I'm wrong. That's at those two lines up there. Yes, it is sending back the error field serializer. That's my bad. If not, and then object type, so forth like that. Yeah, so, yeah, you can do that for this. Actually, I was incorrect about that. So, yeah, I thought I was on this line down here, but no. Sorry, I was on this line up here. So that's my bad. That is my bad. So, yeah, I make mistakes too. But, yeah, in short, yes, you can get AI to explain code for you. For example, let's have a look at the Quake source code. All right, you might be in here and you might go, all right, what does client? You might go, all right, what does all of this code mean? I'm hoping this isn't a very... All right, cool. This isn't a big code thing. I'm actually curious about this because I don't know what this code means. Can you please help me understand the following code? Ah, whoops, sorry. I was meant to paste that in. This source code comes from the Quake. Ooh, it automatically knows where it is coming from. That's pretty cool. Registers two constant variables. CL no rep toggles client size prediction on and off. Push latency shifts the. All right, cool. Yep. Resolves floating point precision errors when converting network coordinates. Yep, how it works. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, in short, yes, you can use AI to explain the code. You want to learn Java Spring Boot. So which tutorial? I've never used Java Spring Boot, so I don't know. My guess is... Does this site actually have tutorials? You've got to learn. Got a referencing doc. Tutorials. You've got tutorials here. So I'll just copy this up here. There we go. Oh, and we're joined again with socks. There we go. And I'll paste this on Twitch. What IDE is that? So I'm using the JetBrains IDEs. Now, full disclosure, I get them for free because source. Open source projects get a free license. So yeah, I get a, yeah, that's it. It's full disclosure. So non-commercial open source development, which NearBeach and Welk fall under. Using AI to take, yeah, that's if the AI can understand my code. Or code how I want it to be. Now in here, you'll notice that I've done Welk model. I'm going to go Welk model. Now, sorry, socks. I know you want to lick my hands because I've got tasty treat dust on it. I've got the Welk buttons, action state. All right, cool. So I'm just looking up my usual way of how I label things going down. Okay, so I'm not being... All right, yeah. I'm just going to do that. So the Welk modal will be the mask. So we're just going to open up like this. Don't worry about this all breaking. I'll fix it up, I swear. Oops, we'll go to line 16. We'll then do a modal. Like that. We've got the lint doing that. And then what I want to do here, width is going to be 100. Spent view height. However, my brain is telling me, oh, it's the height that is going to be 100%. Now, it's not the view height. It's the DV height. So, CSS DVH. If you didn't know about DVH, oh, they don't have an image there, damn it. All right, I was hoping for an image. It's the dynamic view height. So, I know this happens on Apple products and so forth like that, where you'll have, essentially, it's this image here that we're looking at. That will disappear, and you want the height to also adjust when it disappears and so forth like that. So that's why we're using DVH. Now, what we want is background color. Oh, this is where I'm terrible with the colors. What colors have I set up in this system? Let's have a quick look. Let's go into styles, variables, color variables. We've got a bunch of stuff in here. I'm just going to go the Welk neutral colors as the background. But I want to set it with an alpha. We use that for the moment. And in the meantime, there go socks. People want to see you, not me. Now, are you in frame? Yes, yes, you are in frame. Cool. So we use that as the background color for the moment. We've got the modal. What we've got to do is display flex. Flex direction is going to be a column. Justify content is going to be center. Line stuff is going to be center. Cool. So that should put the modal center. Now, we've got the slot coming in. What I want to do, I'm just going to minimize everything. I'm going to open up Welk. I'm going to go over here. We're going to cut that. We're going to go into Welk, and we're going to run the same command in here. What I want to do, I want to open up the source. I want to open up the local and the local stuff. We've just got a bunch of dates. So what I want to do, welk button. Be on click equals open modal. I need to import that. Let's just go to the top. That's not going to do anything at the moment, but that's perfectly fine. Now, there we go. So, problem is, this isn't where we want it to be. What we want this to be, so this is the welk modal. It's not the width of, all right. Made a bug. I'm just gonna do the little danceroo. There we go. We're just gonna go into the welk model. We're gonna fix this up. We're gonna go top 0. We want to go left 0. And there we go. It's covering everything. Now. I'm just going to do this very, very quickly. Just you can't take an existing value and play it. All right, cool. Namely, you can't take an existing hex. Yeah. All right, cool. All right. Give me a couple of seconds. I am just going to hopefully do something crazy enough. So background color, I'm going to cut that out. Background color, we're just going to paste this in. And what we're going to do is I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the end and I'm going to go to 0.5. Let's go 50%. We're going to lint that. We're just going to go to this. Perfect. All right, that's what I wanted. Now the next thing I want to do, let's comment that one out. Let's go background color. Let's go HSLA, and then I'm going to go var. We're going to go welk neutral color 3, and then I'm going to go 50%. And then I'm going to hope for the best. And it didn't work. Boo. All right. That is annoying. Because I was hoping I could just pass that through. All right. CSS HSL as a variable passed through to HSLA. To pass HSL values into that function via CSS variables, the most effective is store the raw component has used it in variable without the wrapper function. Not that we can do that. But they say it's possible. Yeah, but we've got that. Yeah, it's not 50%. And if I click on the modal, yeah. That's bloody annoying. Yeah, it's got to set up like that. All right. All right, base color. Oh, that's what we want. All right, I'm just gonna copy that. We're just gonna go into here. This line doesn't work. We don't care. We just delete it. So background color. This will be HSL from var. Well, neutral color 3. HSL divide by 0.5. Yeah, didn't like that at all. Hang on, unknown word, background color. Have I screwed up? Oh, hang on. No, that's fine. That didn't work anyway. Yeah, that didn't work. All right, I'm just going to copy this. Just in case I typed anything wrong. And I'm just going to go, well, neutral color 3. We're just going to go over here. Boom. All right, cool. And all right, yeah. No, I think what I did was I put those together. All right, it's my bad. But yeah, this is what we want. That looks nice. I'm happy with that. That's going to be fine. What I also want to do is now I'm in here. This is centered. Yep, this is perfect. Is we want a little bit of margin. So we're gonna go margin or padding. I want to have a bit of padding. Sorry. We're just gonna do 2 REM. Realize that is a terrible decision. I'm going to go 1 REM. I think that's good. Then everything will sit perfectly fine in here. Now, the thing is, when people are on smaller screens, like let's say a mobile phone, you kind of want this to take over the whole thing on a mobile phone. Yeah, I don't know about that though. Then again, I feel like it needs to be done. All right, cool. Width, 100% view width. Height is going to be 100% display view height. All right, cool. So that's going to take over everything. That's going to be perfectly fine. What we're going to do is down here, we're going to go at media, and then we've got some media variables. So if we go, styles, variables. Oh, I don't have media variables for this. Oh. Oh yeah, I got them for NearBeach. I just don't have... Oh no, I do. Where have I defined them? I've not defined them at all. That's bad. I mean, none of that's going to work how we want it to. I've just dropped the thing. It sucks. All right. I'm just going to go over into NearBeach. We're going to minimize everything. We're going to nick something from NearBeach. We're going to go source. We're going to go styles. And we're going to go media variables. We're grabbing this. Now, it doesn't like the custom. Urgh. Hate when that doesn't like that. We're going to fix that up at a later date, though. So, we've got the styles, we've got the shared, we've got the variables. I'm just going to paste it in the variables. And then we're just going to go up here and go import variables underscore media variables. Easy done. Everyone's happy with that. So yeah, that way when we go back over here, we've got the at media. We're just going to do the particular screen sizes. So in this sort of case, what we have is we've got a small screen. So mobile phone screens will have a screen smaller than this. All right, cool. Small screens will have it. Large, medium screens will have. So we'll go with a medium screen. And then what we're doing, width, auto, height, auto. And then that should not work, which is a bit disappointing. All right. I thought that was going to work. Alternatively, I can just do that. All right, I kind of like that. The idea is the modal will just expand to the full screen size if the screen is small. That's it. Gives us more real estate to work with. We could also deal with a 0.5 rem padding and then deal with a padding of 1 rem for larger screens. Thus, so when it is in, let's say, a small format here, there's more space for the user. So, yeah. There's also an issue where that's meant to be All right, the height itself is going to be a calc of that minus 1 rem from both the padding from the height and the bottom. Let's refresh. Maybe not. What else is there? If I get rid of the padding, we still scroll up and down. What the hell? Not too fast at the moment, but yeah, I do want to actually fix that. I don't know why I'm getting a scroll bar. Alright, I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. Alright. Not worth it. I'm going to hit refresh. So we're getting this modal set up pretty quickly. Yeah, it's going to do an auto size. However, we might want to control that with classes. So if we have a look at Bootstrap, got a bunch of modals and stuff like that, like this, but you can also deal with the sizes, like that. So we're going to implement the same sort of thing. So we'll have small, large, and extra large. This might mean that we have a snapping effect, full screen effect if the modal is too large. So, for example, let's say you're on a mobile phone, you pop open a large modal. We want that to snap to full screen, which can be done. That's not going to be a problem. It just means that I've got to think about my CSS and how that does stuff. Sorry, I just, in my head, I'm rattling around being like, how? So, it's not too hard. We've got the at media sort of things. What I could potentially do. Sorry, I'm going to draw this out. What I could potentially do is default. It's going to be small. And then we'll have a medium, large, extra large. And I can match these up with the mobile sizes, which then means that I get rid of that this thing once again. Because it looks like we'll have to hard code this in. Not a problem. But it gives us the ability to open up this 640. Let's have a look at 640. I don't care about that. Piss off. In here. So width is going to be 640. I think that's good. That's a good size. So we're going to go 640 pixels. All right, everyone can be happy with that. Medium. I mean, that's a large. 1024. So 768. That's a pretty good size. And then 1024. That's getting better. And then an extra large will be 1280. Which is a pretty big modal. Alright, I like that. So, in this sort of case, what we do is we handle it like this. So we go full screen, and then if it reaches 640, the width will be 640 pixels. All right, done. That's it. I might need to go calc minus 2 rem because of the padding. So if we go in here and I type in 640, yeah, there it goes. So that sits fine with me. I'm happy with that. So the instant it goes 640, that's the thing. We're not stretching it out. That's cool. That's why I've got the 2 rem in there. If I get rid of that, let's put 0 rem. Oh no, that's still going fine. But yeah, notice how it goes up against here, and whereas if I put the 2 rem, notice how we've got the padding in there. Yeah, cool. So we're definitely doing that. So the other thing is we've got to deal with the other classes, the other ones. So down here, let's go that dot medium. So the width will still be 100 view width, and the height will still be calc 100 display view height minus 1 rem. Or until it reaches this, and then we expand the height, and then we start putting in our medium. So 640 pixels. Then our height comes calculated at 100 display view height minus 2 rem, because that's where we increase this. Now the width down here should override the width here because it's cascading. Should. Been keywords. So we need that to do that. And then at media, min width is going to be, what was it? 768. This is where we go. The width is going to be calculated 768 pixels minus 2 rem. because that's the padding on either side, and then the height is going to be auto. So that's the medium. Now we've got the large, and essentially it's pretty much all of this. Except we've just got to change this now to be 1024. This will be fine, and then this will be 1024 pixels, and yep, we're fine with that, because this doesn't get picked up because it's medium and stuff like that. And if people are if people are putting in multiple of the wrong class and stuff like that, I can't help that. And then we do extra large. In which case, all of this will be, it'll be 1280. All right. And we're happy with that. And then if I refresh this, no such file or directory, variables, blah. Oh, I've got to delete that. All right, there we go. Cool. So if I now go to the local stuff, I edit this local file down here. Got to name that correctly. What we need to do is we just pass in class. Let's go medium. Let's hit refresh. Ooh, that's not giving us a medium. Oh, it's done at this level. Oh. Oh, I know socks. Oh. She's like, what? All right, socks. Are you going to help me? She's like, nah, you're on your own. I'm like, well, at least I know how to solve this. This isn't too hard. This is us just moving some CSS around. So I've just got the CSS at the wrong level. What I've got to do is I've got to move these down a level and then nest the modal within them. And it's just that simple. So we just cut them out. Everyone's happy with that. We paste them in here. Everyone's happy with that. And then we can just cheat and go to modal. That's all we need to do. That's pretty simple. At least I think it is. Now we've got this, and then it's not doing that. All right. Let's do that. So we got medium. And what I want to do, background color, hot pink. All right, this is, it's not connecting. So Welk model, medium. Welk model, dot medium, background color, that should override everything. I don't like using importance at all. I hate them. I understand why they've got to be used in certain cases and stuff like that. I'm an idiot. All right, no. That's not meant to be less than. That's meant to be an and dot medium. And it's meant to be like that. There we go. Hot pink ain't showing, but that's not a problem. I don't care about that anymore. And then I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that. And then do it like that. And then everything's fine. And then if we increase this, boom. The instant we go over that 6, 7, 8, boom. All right, cool. I'm happy with that. And then, yeah, perfect. So simple mistake on my behalf. I was meant to do an and. Like that. And that should work for all of them. Anyway, thank you very much, Glitch. I do hope to see you later. So yeah, have fun. Enjoy your evening. If you're in the evening or morning, wherever you are. So yeah. Alright, so we've got that sorted now with the modals. I'm just going to do the large and extra large now. Whoop. So the large is fine, it's fine, it's fine, boom. Alright, cool, yep, that's great. Awesome work. And then the extra large will be the same, and yeah, it's from here on, it becomes the same. So we've got the base of the modal done. Welk button, welk modal. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm just going to ignore that. The next step we've got to do is we've got to implement the header and the footer. It's something we can quickly do. Very similar to the card header and card footer. I'm just going to copy those because we'll modify them very, very quickly. We'll go to the modal. We'll paste those in. We'll add them in for the moment. We're just going to rename that to modal. And modal. Rename this to the modal. Modal. I've just realized I've screwed everything up. I'm just going to delete that. And I'm just going to copy that again. And I'm just going to paste. And I'm just going to go modal footer. I've replaced the wrong thing. We want to replace card with modal. With modal. And modal. With modal. Modal. With modal. All right. So we also then need to put it into here. This will be export. It'll be welk modal footer from modal. Modal footer. That'll be that. And that will be that. And we're all hunky-dory. So, if I close this, I'm going to keep this one open just for a little bit longer. I'm also thinking, how will I handle the button? The close button in the top right of the header. I guess I'm going to have to get the user to handle that. It is a dumb component. These are dumb components. All this is going to do is send through some CSS, and the user can be like, all right, cool. I'm going to program everything that goes in there. I just want the basic layout to look nice. All right, so I'm going to close that. I'm going to go open up the footer and the header. We are going to have to replace the word card with modal. The border radius, yeah, all right, cool. That's perfectly fine. We might want to put a... this is the header. And the footer. We're going to play around with this. All right, yeah. Let's go into the local app. We've got this hello world now, and what I want to do, I just want to bump that down. We just want to bump, oops, did it again. Then up here, we want to go welk, modal header. We want to go header function. I'm just going to click on that. I'm just going to do that, and then we want the welk modal footer, and then the footer function. All right, cool. I'm just gonna enter that in like that. There's a new update rolled out which allows you to pilot codecs on your MacBook from your phone. Oh, that's I can see that being dangerous. Now, in here, what we kind of want to do is we want to add in a border at the bottom. And it's going to be, I'm just going to put hot pink at the moment. Kind of like that. Yeah, because I want to separate, like this modal here, I want something very light and fancy in there. So I'm going to implement that. So at the footer, kind of insane how fast programming is moving. Oh yeah, like, don't get me wrong, it is moving very, very fast at the moment. I'm concerned about it. If I'm reading that correctly, reading what you're saying, let me actually draw this out. Here's me. I draw myself with a lot more hair than I have. I do look drunk. I'm going to admit that. Let's say I have an iPhone. I don't. But let's say I have an iPhone. And then, let's say I have my Mac over here. I'll draw a bit of perspective for the Mac. There we go. And on my Mac are lots of photos of socks. I can't draw, just pretend that's socks. So, from what I'm reading, I could use my phone to control an LLM agent, or an agent. I'm just going to say agent. On my computer. My main concern is what happens if someone else starts, you know, hijacking that, as they tend to. And, you know, getting that agent to do stuff on your computer. Like, you know, send all your banking details and stuff. If I'm reading that right, that's my concern. They would need access to your phone, but after you authorize it. My main concern is they might find a way where they won't need that authorization. Alright, we want border. Border bottom is going to be var welk neutral color. I'm going to go 3 again. Solid. Or should I go dashed? 1 pixel. Oh, that should be top. Not the tip, the top. All right, and then what I need, margin top in 1rem gives us that. Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure we'll see a story to this effect. And yeah, that's my main concern. Is if they've got access. Wait, wherever it is. If they've got something on there, an agent on there, got control of an agent on there, what's to stop them from easily harvesting a lot of data or something like that, causing a living nightmare? Yeah, cybersec, yeah, darn clever. Yep, definitely. I would definitely agree that they're a lot smarter than me. These guys here. Super smart. Alright, we've got a border top. Like that. I'm not going to add much with the padding and stuff like that because the user will be able to do that themselves. Once again, these are going to be very dumb components, so they'll be able to add in their own padding for that. See, I just don't have that trust. Just don't have that trust. Alright, so there we go. That is working wonders. That is meant to be a lot softer than that. I don't know why. I'm just going to refresh. Yeah, it's a lot heavier. That's the dash down there is just 1 pixel, and that's not. But yeah, I like that. We could probably drop the color down. And just imagine through vibe coders programming while doom scrubbing on against the rails, times changing. Yeah, they are definitely changing. Yeah, I'm going to move these back to solid. And I'm going to move this. I'll probably do a 9. It's going to be very, very subtle. So yeah, that's looking nice. It's a subtle sort of line in there. And then we've got all of this in here. So, cool. Now, how are we going to open and close it? That's where we go into the modal itself. By default, display none. And then what will actually happen is we'll have an and open display flex. And I should bring in all that flex information into there. So there we go, it's disappeared. So if I go into here and then I type in show manually, I'll open. Boom, it pops up and no one can edit anything. We're also going to have to deal with an index. I'm just going to go index, Z index, sorry. -1. That's just to get it off the screen for the screen readers and all that kind of fun stuff. And then in here, I'm going to go index, Z index. I'm going to go 10 for the moment. I'm just wondering, is there a reason you didn't use shad CN and style that design system? I don't know about it. I've opened it up before. No particular reason why. Yeah, no particular reason why. I just didn't know about it. I do kind of want to build Welk in the sense that I want full control over everything. I'm going to be using Welk for something else, and yeah, I just want Welk to be as tiny and dumb as possible. So yeah. All right, so that should be done. Yeah. So we've got this modal working now. We just need to put the just fill it in, go open, and then it'll all appear in like that. The user will push through all the stuff that they need or require to make it close and stuff like that. That way I'm not having to deal with anything like that. Alternatively, what I could potentially do, just in case a user doesn't do that, I could make the background, when you click on it, actually close the function. That's not hard to implement. But at the same time, I kind of want... Yeah, I kind of want the user to think about that. But yeah, the modal's all working fine. I'm just going to do a refresh. There we go. And now we're going to do a drop down menu. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here. We're going to go document component. We're going to go this one. We're going to scroll up. We're just going to copy this. We're just going to go over here. We're going to go to our local app. We're just going to scroll up. I'm just going to paste that in. I'm not worried about those at the moment, but I do want to go back over here, and we've got the wealth drop down. I'm just going to copy this. I'm just going to go over here. We're just going to paste it here. I'm going to import that. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. I'm going to go my drop down. We're just going to go over here. We're just going to hit refresh. We've got the my drop down, and it works here. Oh, because I've already put the white background. All right, cool. That's where I'm going to go back to the... Actually, I've got the modal here. We're just going to... Oh, it's not that one. It's this one here. So we're just going to copy this. We're going to go into the... I'm just going to close all... We're going to go into the drop down. Now, this is part of the drop down items. And if we scroll down, we've got the background color here. We're just going to paste this in and we're going to get rid of that. And then if I hit refresh here, we've got that. Note how the colors like that. Now, I want to have a hover over effect for these. Very much similar to how that button is done like that. So we've got the drop down item. We've got the SVG and stuff like that. We're just going to go and hover. We're going to go background color. That's going to be var. I thought I was picking 8. I thought I picked amber. This is confusing. This is one thing I don't like about JetBrains and what they've done. You've got a thing to autocomplete here, and you've got a picker. When you're purposely going through the picker, what do you think you're actually doing? Now, it says tab to complete down there. However, on other pickers, you hit tab. You've got to hit enter for this one. I'm just... I'm not a fan. Alright, so if someone clicks on this... Oh, we don't have hover effects yet. Drop down item. Yeah, that's what I would feel like it is meant to happen, but it doesn't. Oh, the hover doesn't actually work here. Is this? This is 20. This is 5. Alright, I'm not going to fuss about that too much. But that should be now fixed. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that either. We'll go through all of these components and... Oops, I just knocked my thing out. And we'll go through and clean them up. But, at least... And I've got to release this too. At least I'm happy with that where it is tonight. Git status, git add, git commit. Implementation of the modal functionality plus background color fix for the drop down menu. All right, I'm going to just push those at the moment. And I'm just going to go back into NearBeach very, very quickly. I'm going to be finishing up very shortly. I'm just tired. I can't make the full stream at the moment, but that's perfectly fine. Hopefully I get time on the weekend to sort of catch up with this. So in the NearBeach application, we've got the upload, we've got that fixed. The idea being is with the modals, when we click on the modals, we want a certain modals to appear. Yeah, I'm just exhausted. And Dublin Blue, welcome. Thank you very much for the follow. I do hope you are enjoying my content. All right, so we got the teleport functionality. This is what I kind of want to do with the modal. So we're going to teleport it to the body. We'll have our modal stuff set up inside so we can close it and so forth like that. We're going to use one modal, and depending on the what the user clicks, depends what content we actually show inside. So the user will be able to do a link, they'll be able to upload, and they'll be able to do something else, and we can create all of this within that functionality. Yeah, I'm having a think how I'm going to sort of make that work. So, I am going to close the Welk stuff. I'll do a release for Welk after the stream. I'm going to do it on my Mac. I'm going to get a YubiKey for this computer, so I can also do it here. But with the document components, with the create and filter, we've got the create and filter. We've got this basic sort of stuff. And then I don't think I can... and that's got to be to body. Yeah. And then in here, we'll have the Welk modal. Doesn't exist at the moment, so I'm just going to go div class equal div my pane. And that's going to show up probably somewhere in here. Oh, hang on. npm run dev. My pane's somewhere in here. Well, I didn't do it. Because I'm not on document yet. There we go. If I move this to the left, notice how my pane just popped up. We kind of wanted that to actually happen with the modals, but the modals won't appear there. Now, I'm going to use just one modal. All right. And oh, sorry, we go. What I want to do, I want to get rid of that. I'm going to go Welk modal header, header, body, Welk modal footer. So it'll be kind of set up like that. However, very much like the tab system. So if I'm going to snooze that. for Snoop for 5 minutes. Boo. If I go into components, object, this will be part of the whole entire. Sorry, this is where I'm slowing down and I am forgetting things. So we've got the document, which is going to be part of the general details, which is going to be part of all of this. I'm just going to go and have to find it through here. So router view, anonymous, base, project page. This is part of the anonymous components. Welk tabs. Yeah, I know that's part of the Welk tabs. But what's this anonymous component? I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go straight to project page. Alright, we don't have that anymore, but we do have these. Thank you very much. Oh, types. Alright, yep. Here, so notice how we've got the tabs, and the tabs actually handle, and sorry, the tabs are fine, but we've got different templates in here. That's not what we want to do, no. But that's fine. And then, yeah, the idea being is we just click each different template depending on what the tab is. And yeah, that's how that works. I'm just wondering with this how we can swap between each one of those. So I might put in a component being like, show this component if this is actually going to be appearing, show this if this is appearing, and so forth like that. Yeah, that's just going to be how it is. But I'll keep the components simple. That way this is easy. So yeah, if we go up here, we've got the refs. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I am gonna go const upload. What will we call this? Upload type equals ref. This is gonna be a string. Easy done. And by default, it is going to be match all of these sort of cases in here. So it will be new folder as a default. So what we want to do is we want to go down here. We want to add in an ID equals upload model. Easy done. We want to go update type.value equals event.trigger. So that will change it from new folder, new link, and upload document. Change the upload type, and then show the model. So this, actually, we won't need an ID here. We just need to pass through the class. So we've got the modal class. Whoa. This will be a simple string. It'll be blank by default. And we just go show. And that's it. We don't need anything special around that. So that will pass show through into there. We'll also have a function called close modal. And that's just going to be model class dot value equals nothing. So it shuts it off. That's it. We don't need it any more complicated than that. Yeah, that's the good thing about dumb components sometimes, is you just make things really, really simple. Okay. And then in here, we will forget all of this. This will then have upload document, or be new folder. But it'll be a v-if, and this will be upload type equals new folder. And then the other ones will be new link. And then upload document. And that's it. That's how I would tackle it. And then each one of these components will handle its own business logic. If someone hits close and stuff like that, that's where we'll have the v on. Hey, Socks, yes, I know you want to touch me. There you go. Some face scratches. V on close modal equals close modal. To be consistent. Like that. And considering we haven't got any code here and stuff like that, this will all just hopefully work. I'm going to snooze that ad break once again. Just because I'll be leaving very shortly. So that should be it. We just need to deploy the new whelk. We need to create these new components. We will put them under the documentation stuff. We don't need to spend too long on these. So I'm just having a quick think. Yeah, we don't need to spend too much time on this. Isn't that right, Sal? Alright, cool. I'm going to leave it here today. I am fading fast. I'm going to find someone to raid. Ooh, Prismatic Dev. Alright, he is building a game. He has a couple of cats. Let's visit him. Pretty chill dude. Alright, I'm going to move this down here so you guys can see him. We're going to turn this on so you guys can hear him and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for coming tonight. It has been wonderful. Yeah, I'm hoping to finish this document stuff off as soon as possible. Yeah, I'm hopefully we'll spend some time on the weekend. Anyway, thank you. And for those on YouTube, sadly you won't be able to join us, but thank you very much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It does help. So yeah, thank you.